Starving children, the elderly and non-elderly disabled. That's what Maggie Goodlander and Chris Pappas voted to do when the Republicans defunded the Affordable Care Act subsidies. In an effort to blackmail the Republicans, they opted to block SNAP funding, which is used primarily to feed children, the elderly, and non-elderly disabled people. They voted literally to starve 12.3 million United States children, 8.2 million elderly, and 4.1 million disabled people nationwide. None of these categories includes work-eligible people. The children are 5 to 17 years old, for a total of 24.6 million people losing their food money. In just New Hampshire, 52,000 people, 30,800 of them children, 20,800 of them elderly, 10,400 of them are disabled. In New Hampshire District 2, Maggie Goodlander's district, 38,000 people, 19,650 children aged 5 to 17, 13,100 elderly, 6,500 disabled adults. In many states, those people did starve. We were fortunate in New Hampshire that Governor Kelly Ayotte was looking out for us. She used emergency funds to help and enlisted the aid of many charities. But still, if Jean Shaheen and Maggie Hassan had not crossed party lines, we would also have starved, as emergency funds were limited. And Maggie Goodlander and Chris Pappas both said they would do it again. Cutting the Affordable Care Act tax credits and subsidies was rotten and needs to be reversed. But literally starving 24.6 million people, 12.3 million of them children, is downright evil, and neither is fit to hold public office. You have any clue what it's like to be a child and be so hungry that you're dizzy, sick, and your little belly burns so bad that you'll do about anything for food? I know from personal experience what that's like. And unlike them, instead of starving babies and grannies, I actually worked on the problem and created a workable solution and a way to pay for it responsibly. Restoring affordable health care and paying for it responsibly. Millions of Americans saw their health insurance costs spike when the enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies expired. These were the subsidies that kept premiums affordable for working families, capped how much of their income they had to spend on coverage, and eliminated the old subsidy cliff. Restoring those subsidies costs about $35 billion per year. I support restoring them and paying for them in a way that does not raise taxes on working families, small businesses, or retirees. Here's how the math works. 1. Trim the SALT tax break for the very wealthiest. This was actually increased by the Republicans on the big beautiful bill. The state and local tax, SALT deduction, is a federal tax break that overwhelmingly benefits high-income households in a handful of states. By partially reducing the SALT deduction for the highest income taxpayers, we can raise $20 billion per year. This does not affect middle-class families because most don't itemize and most don't claim large SALT deductions. Restore the estate tax to its 2009 rules. Today, a single person can pass $13.6 million tax-free or $27 million from a couple. Only about 0.1% of estates pay anything. Under the 2009 rules, the exception was $3.5 million per person, $7 million per couple, with a 45% rate on amounts above that. Restoring those earlier rules affects only the largest multi-million-dollar estates, roughly the wealthiest 0.2 to 0.3% of households. This raises $13.5 billion per year. Total fully funds for restoring Affordable Care Act affordability. Affordable Care Act subsidies restored cost $35 billion per year. How it's paid for: partial SALT reduction plus $20 billion. 2009 estate tax rules $13 to $15 billion. Total 33 billion minus 35 billion per year. That means the Affordable Care Act subsidies can be restored without raising taxes on working families and without adding to the deficit. Summary for voters. I support restoring the Affordable Care Act subsidies that kept health insurance affordable for millions of families. It costs about $35 billion a year, and I pay for it by trimming a tax break that mostly benefits the wealthy, and by restoring the old estate tax rules so that only the largest multi-million-dollar inheritances pay more. No new taxes on working families and no increases to the deficit. What the Republicans did was they actually, on the big beautiful bill, was actually increased the salt tax break way beyond its previous, way beyond the 2017 amount. That was actually ignorant. And they used the Affordable Care Act subsidies to pay for it. Starving babies is unacceptable. But the insurance rates went up to rates that were ridiculous. Nobody can afford to pay for insurance anymore. Both problems need to be solved.